iRacing right now.
He's got traction, he's got with the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
The time has come for the final round of the Murray Bridge Bin Manufacturing and Down Under Graphics ASC Series, Australia's premier online sprint car series. We head to one of the more well-known tracks in the dirt scene on iRacing. We head to Eldora Speedway for the 8th round of this series. My name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me in the booth, our resident dirt expert, Cameron Dance. Cam, we're going to have a really awesome night of racing. A little bit of a smaller field again, but as we've seen, every time we've had that smaller field, we've ended up with a really, really awesome show.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fantastic series all series long. A lot of close racing and some very controversial but also exciting moments throughout the series as well. So been really, really good to broadcast this once again and have the series running. So big thanks to Murray Bridge Bin Manufacturing once again for sponsoring the series. And yeah, can't wait to see what tonight's going to turn on.
And tonight, as we have seen throughout the series, caution laps will not count. So means that we have a little bit of a longer race than we normally would, but that means that we get more green flag laps of action and 35 laps for the main event around this nearly half-mile oval. A little bit more banking around here, and obviously it's more well known for racing with the trucks in the NASCAR series, but tonight sprint cars around Eldora, no stranger to these cars. Should be a very, very fun night.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of drivers already out on the track, obviously getting their early practice laps in, but look at that temperature of the track and all that sort of stuff. It's looking like it's not going to be too bad. Obviously, not so much sunlight or heat on the direct track surface, so going to be a little bit more moisture than you normally see, but who knows, it's still going to provide some really good racing.
Yeah, 100%. We've got about 15 odd cars out on track at the moment, but before we get into qualifying, let's have a quick look at the current championship standings with one round to go. These standings contain one drop round, so this is pretty much how it stands coming into this round, and Bergeron pretty much has to make about mid-pack in the A main to win the championship. So as long as he can finish the race, essentially, he should be able to wrap this championship up. But Berkeley, Hewitt, Wheeler, Hobson and Sanders all a chance of taking that second position, which means that we are going to have some fantastic racing and some fantastic fighting coming right down to the wire. Top 8 rounded out by Bradley, Sanders, James Rice and James Robbie as well. There's a few others that could fight for that top 8, but those are basically the top 6, second through to 6 are fighting for the last podium spots in this series. For this season, the second running of the Australian Sprint Car Series, the ASC. It's been a fantastic series to broadcast once again, and we thank the team at BK Events, Bob and everyone behind the scenes for helping put on a fantastic series. Again, showing how well this series can be run and done. It's been fantastic to watch, and we've thoroughly loved being a part of it. So 3 minutes left in this warm-up session. Bergeron, top of the timesheets at the moment. Cam's having some issues with his mic. He is ignoring me, that's why, someone just crashes into the cameraman. That's why he's rather quiet at the moment, but Bergeron on top of the times at the moment, Vince Romeo in second, Brenton Hobson in third, Bob King out there in fourth position at the moment. It's very, very tight at the top of the timesheets. Only a tenth of a second separating the top 8 out of our 13 drivers who have done a lap at the moment. So very, very close. Top of the timesheets, 13.0. Track still looking in pretty good shape, so the outside line not really the key at the moment, but you think coming on later in the night that would be where everyone will be heading as the push starts to really come in and the inside line becomes that slick that no one will want to be down there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very strange track, obviously very high banked, and you do start to see as the track starts to wear down the bottom, it does start to progressively get further and further close to the wall before it completely slicks off and everybody's just trying to find grip anywhere. So really going to be interesting to see how tonight goes. I know we saw in the What About Outlaw late model series that was broadcast earlier today that was an interesting track where you had multiple different lines, some running through the middle, some running on the bottom, and some even running on the top. So it's going to be a very, very interesting race in the come feature time and what sort of lines we could possibly see.
Yeah, exactly right, and it'll be great to see the evolution of the track as the night progresses. Even in this practice session, you see the different lines that drivers are already taking, trying to work out where's grip and where does not. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out come the end of the night. But Bergeron is absolutely flying at this current stage, leads the championship and leads it quite convincingly, and as we said, pretty much just needs a decent result tonight and he'll wrap this championship up and get himself a nice little bit of prize money thanks to Murray Bridge Bin Manufacturing.
Yeah, Alex has been pretty dominant so far this whole entire series. Didn't quite have too bad of a run last time out at Kokomo, so going to be interesting to see what he does here at Eldora. Been very dominant in the past as well at Eldora, not only in the Pro Series, but just in general throughout numerous other events such as the Australian Sprint Car Series. So probably going to be the one to beat. Obviously, the times are looking relatively close, less than half a second splitting the entire field, like you said earlier. So really going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on because that's a very small gap between first and second at the moment.
Yeah, very, very tight. Look at Brett Wheeler in 6th position, only 0.03 of a second back or 0.04 of a second back. So there's not much separating everyone in the field at the moment. As we get into the final minute of practice, and we will get into a 5-minute qualifying session, and that's when we will really see the true pace of everyone. But with a smaller field out there, the practice means a little bit less than what we've seen in other races, doesn't it? It's not as crucial as it is with a bigger field.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that when you've got a bigger field, you really got to put the hard yards into getting it and making sure you've got a really solid qualifying position, as obviously you've got the likes of B mains and that sort of stuff that you've got to deal with, and having that automatic transfer is really, really helpful so that you don't have to fight it out for those few positions that end up transferring through from the B main. So it's really going to be interesting to see what the small field can put on, but like we've seen in the previous few rounds, a small field doesn't exactly mean bad racing. It's going to mean some very competitive racing. Exactly
right. It will mean that we'll have a very, very good show, and it means that the drivers will all be comfortable with who they're racing around too, which always means that there's an extra spice to it. There's always a little bit more spice when you have a smaller field in these series, because everyone knows everyone a lot better. You don't have any random people that have joined in that no one's too sure about, so it means that the racing becomes a little bit tighter and a little bit closer. As 5 minutes of qualifying gets underway, we'll see who the first driver to jump is. Don't forget we do have live timing available on our website as well at simspeed.tv/live timing. Click on the BK Events tab or on the ASC logo and you can keep up to date with the live timing for this race. As we see Daniel Stevens, the first driver for Middle Finger Racing, is out there trying to put in a lap time. And one thing I'm really interested about too, it's the evolution of the track going from sunset into dusk. We may not see it get fully into dusk, but the sunlight out there, there's so much sunlight at the moment, but during the practice session, there was a lot of cloud cover. How much does that affect the track throughout the night when you have a lot of sun and then a lot of cloud and things like that? How does it change the moisture and things like that in the track?
Yeah, well, obviously, a bit more cloud cover. You've got a bit less chance of the track drying out, and obviously it does also sort of take away from your marks as a driver. You don't quite have that sunlight beaming off the slick patches, so it takes a bit more skill in terms of trying to find out where the grip actually is. But it's going to be one of those things. And obviously, if there is cloud cover over, say, for example, only two corners, say turns 1 and 2, and then it's sunlight in turns 3 and 4, you're going to have to really be aware of that, and that make sure that you're going to know where the grip's going to be in that moist part of the circuit, and then where it's going to dry out in the other part.
At the moment, Trent Gostley leads the way with a 13.494. Joe McKenzie, John Schultz, Lewis Hewitt, the only drivers out on track at the moment. Schultz crosses the line. Good lap with a 13.5, slots into 3rd position. Let's see what Lewis Hewitt can do on his first flying run. Expect Hewitt to be up near the pointy and looking for a bit of redemption. The former TTL drivers, now Slick Sim Sports. So these guys wanting a bit of redemption after a little bit of a horror week last week.
Yeah, obviously that controversial moment between Joel Berkeley and Tom Callahan at Kokomo wasn't
still being discussed.
The best of, and it's still being discussed, like you said. Yeah, it was one of those interesting things that you sometimes see in racing and doesn't quite always end up being over till it's over. But Hewitt going straight
good lap
to the top of the timesheets on that second lap, doing a really, really good job. So obviously a bit of momentum from what the late model boys did earlier today and getting a double podium actually. So obviously that vibe of being successful is really carried over.
And great to see as a brand new team. Obviously guys all been together, yourself included, for a while, but sometimes a brand new team gives a little bit of extra focus and you rejuvenate yourself. As you just see Brett Wheeler slide into 3rd position. Good to see him up more towards the pointy end this round as Alex Bergeron about to start his flying run. See what his first lap is. Running very wide line. I've seen a lot more guys go through the middle to lower sections on their second lap, where it looks like it might be a tiny bit quicker. Good first lap for a banker there for Bergeron in 6th position, 13.5. We'll see if he can go quick time though. I think he will. Just quick time to the top of the timesheets. 13.251. Bergeron on top. Joel Berkeley though, see what he can do on this run, as he's actually got some issues and will slot into 3rd position. It leaves Hobson pretty much the last driver to go.
Yeah, currently not looking too bad up the top of the timesheet. Very close between Hewitt and Bergeron. Those two scraped it out at the last round at Eldora in the Pro Series. Hobson just starting his first lap, coming through 1 and 2, running quite a bit higher than everybody else's by the looks of it. So getting a slightly alternative line and then a sort of only the slider line through 3 and 4. We'll see what it does for a time as he comes across the line. Doing 3 at 7 at 6. So puts him up to 4th. So not actually too bad of a time for the fact that it was the first lap, and also much different line compared to everybody else as well. So see what his second time is, and whether he improves. He does not quite improve. So sitting in at 4th for time being.
Teammate James Rice though about to finish his first flying lap, same time pretty much to Hobson, tucks into 4th position, just ahead, only by 11 thousandths of a second. With second lap running similar line to what we've seen everyone else run, and will not improve. About the same time as Hobson again. The teammates staying very similar. So that is qualifying done. The entire field separated by half a second, which is what we want to see in this series. But Bergeron, Hewitt, and Berkeley, the top of the timesheet. So you can see with Bergeron doing a 13.2. Hewitt only 3 hundredths behind Berkeley, Rice, Hobson, and Stewart, the top 6. Great to see Harry Stewart up towards the top of the timesheets. He had a bit of a horror week last week as well. Vince Romeo and Brett Wheeler 7th and 8th. And Gostley, Butler, Schultz, Sanders, Robbie, Stevens, and McKenzie, our field. So we get ready for heat number 1. And we will get a grid up on screen in just a moment. I'm looking forward to seeing how this first race plays out. And you can see the sun's come back out again. So this should be very, very interesting. A little bit of shadow starting to creep over the turns 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 in complete sunlight. So this could be interesting, as you said before. It does affect the track a little bit, but Bergeron and Berkeley on the front row, Hobson and Romeo, Gostley and Schultz, Robbie and McKenzie, the 8 cars for heat number 1. We get ready to go. So it should be a good race because there's some very, very competitive names here, and there's a lot of redemption wanting to be done within this field.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the top 2 in the championship on the front row in this seat. So, going to be uno between these two on who's going to want bragging rights in this race and who wants to start on pole as well for the feature race. It's actually looking like it's going to be relatively quite a good battle between most of the field. You're going to probably have Bergeron and Berkeley run away, and then everybody else scrapping for the 9 positions.
You know, pretty much anyone in that top 6, well, actually, pretty much anyone in the field can win this race because we saw John McKenzie had some great pace last week. He'll start from the back of the field. James Robbie, we know, is very, very competitive and very, very quick. Schultz is always right in there with a shot. Gosling, Romeo, Hobson, Berkeley and Bergeron are all right there at the front as well. So this should be very, very interesting to see how it all goes as we get ready to get this race underway. And we're just getting confirmation sent through from Bob King that with qualifying, Alex Bergeron has just sealed the championship with that pole position. So congratulations to Alex Bergeron. But the fight for second will come right down to the end because the way that the field are sorted, you're qualifying ahead of Berkeley means that those points have closed up a little bit higher.
Yeah, the two teammates will be probably having no team orders. Will be going scrapping at it with no bars held.
Oh, we've seen them battle already, haven't we, in this series?
Berkeley, so yeah, it's going to be very interesting between the two teammates as to who's actually going to come out on top in that one. Probably going to see Berkeley do a bit better, although Hewitt did qualify on pole for his heat, so really probably going to want to have Berkeley win this race if he wants to stand any chance against his teammate.
Yeah, exactly right. You want to try and start the main event from pole and get the advantage at the start. We've seen pole has been a pretty big key in the main event throughout this series, just based on the format and caution laps not counting, so you can control the pace of the field a little bit more. With caution laps counting, it sort of changes how the race is held and the race behaves. But we get ready to get the green flag for heat number 1. The final round of the ASC series. Green flag flies and we are underway, and a very, very good jump at the front from Bergeron. But have a look at Hobson straight in there with a big slide jump, and he'll take second position away from Joel Berkeley.
Yeah, great start there by Hobber to get the slide job done, but he's going to come back at Berkeley, who's done a slide job on him as well. But Hobson going to go for another slide job up the inside. Romeo there as well. Thereabouts, nearly contact between Berkeley on the high side, Hobson on the low side, going to try the slide job. Romeo's trying to find his way through as well, so two of them going together, and contact between Berkeley and Romeo.
Oh, wow.
So Berkeley's going to be shuffled back to fourth now, nearly going to be fifth or sixth if he's not careful, but at the moment, pretty good lead by Bergeron to be holding off Hobson and Romeo at the moment, but Berkeley's coming back.
Yep, Berkeley trying to work his way back in the back of the field. We saw James Robbie and Trent Gosling both have some issues, but the front of the field, Bergeron controls this field. Hobson now settled in second, but Vince Romeo is feeling the pressure from behind. Joel Berkeley trying to work his way forward. This is a great fight going on here.
Yeah, you can see them obviously running slightly alternative lines, although track's relatively fresh, so everybody's still single file for the most part and using as much grip as they can. Still very, very even between the two of them. Hobson looks like he's slightly catching Bergeron as well, slightly quicker that last time by, so could end up with possibly a four-way battle for the lead, or even a very good fight for the lead with only a handful of laps to go.
Yeah, Hobson's got that down to 0.3 of a second, stretching out a tiny little bit on this lap, but he was a lot quicker the last 2 laps. 3 laps to go now, and Bergeron leading, started to close that gap back down, but Vince Romeo and Joel Berkeley both looking very, very quick at the moment. Their pace has improved in the last couple of laps. 2 to go. This may come down to the wire here. We'll see how this one plays out. Bergeron looks very safe, but I don't think Hobson's as settled as he thinks he would be. Although Hobson's starting to close back in on Bergeron here. This is getting a little bit closer.
Yeah, and Berkeley just behind is doing his best to try and close that gap to Vince Romeo. They're on their last lap now, so Berkeley's going to throw a huge slide job in the background of Vince Romeo, but not going to get the job done, and Bergeron will take the win for heat number 1 with Hobson, Romeo, and Berkeley rounding out the top 4.
What a good race that was to start us off for tonight. Bergeron, Hobson, Romeo, Berkeley, Schultz, Gosling, Robbie and McKenzie. The order for race number 1, but we get into heat number 2. And Lewis Hewitt will start from pole with James Rice, Harry Stewart and Brett Wheeler. The first 4 with Scott Butler, Bradley Sanders, Daniel Stevens and Bob King, 8th position. I don't believe Bob will take the grid as he's adminning for tonight once again. So we get ready to get underway for heat 2. Should be very, very interesting.
Yeah, you probably can't count out majority of the field at this stage in this heat, especially with the way the championship's looking and the way that a lot of people have had pace over these last few rounds as well. The likes of Harry Stewart, James Rice, Brett Wheeler, even Scott Butler and Bradley Sanders could even stand a chance at possibly winning this or getting on that podium. So, really going to be some interesting battles and what could possibly come of this.
As the iRacing pace truck pulls out of the pit lane, and Bob King is taken to the grid for the first time this season, which is great to see. So, not often we get to see Bob out on track in these events because running the series behind the scenes is always a little bit tough, but great to see him out on track. He's a very, very tough competitor out in these series too. Of course, last season in this series, he was right up towards the pointy end, so be good to see how he goes through the field here. But Hewitt, Rice, Stewart, Wheeler, Butler, Sanders and Stevens, the other 7 cars in this field, will be trying their hardest to make sure Bob stays at the rear of the field.
Yeah, Bob's starting rear field, so he's going to have to probably have his work cut out for him to make it through the field, but obviously that 51 usually quite quick in these sprint car races from time to time when he does get to time in the seats, so definitely going to be someone to watch. But pace truck is about to pull off. Lewis Hewitt leads this field and he is going to be waiting his longest, and he's gone, so good jump there by Hewitt to get the lead of the race already.
Yeah, great jump at the start, and Harry Stewart losing ground in the middle of the field. So Brett Wheeler and Scott Butler both through already. So a really good jump there for Lewis Hewitt. James Rice doing a good job maintaining that gap. Butler holding off Harry Stewart, who's trying to come back through, and a little mistake there for Sanders, and King has made contact with him. Stay green, of course, in these heats, and it's on for the lead because James Rice looks really quick tonight.
Yeah, Rice was a little bit quicker quicker that time by against Hewitt, and he's all over the back end of Hewitt's tail tank. He's looking for a gap, but he's not quite going to go for the side job though at this stage. He's just trying to follow in the wheel tracks and see where the grip is and where the fastest line could possibly be. Two of them very, very equal. You can just see the wheel work, trying to keep it as smooth as possible on board with James Rice, and he's going to look to go slightly a little bit lower, but not quite going to have to drive off the corner.
Not quite there yet, and in the background too, Brett Wheeler and Scott Butler still battling on. Butler not quite able to close the ground down, halfway now through, 5 down, 5 to go. And this race is heating up for sure. Lewis Hewitt maintaining the lead. And he's starting to break a little bit of a gap. James Rice now starting to struggle a little bit. Scott Butler starting to close in really, really quickly on Brett Wheeler now. Will he be able to close that gap down? This is getting very, very close between these two.
Yeah, Wheeler seems to be struggling a little bit with just trying to keep the momentum up. He's really having to wheel the car and keep it as straight as he can, whereas Butler seems to be a lot more smooth. He's trying to use an alternative line as well to close that gap up to James Rice, who's just even quicker that time by than James Rice. So starting to close that gap up, but he might be running out of time here.
Big look up the inside, not quite close enough to throw that slide job as a white flag in the air. This is now the final lap of the race. Heat 2. And Lewis Hewitt maintaining the lead for now. And it looks like he's got this one all settled. So Hewitt will win. James Rice, Brett Wheeler side by side for a moment. Not quite able to get there. Scott Butler will finish 4th. Harry Stewart in 5th. Then Bob King will finish 6th. Daniel Stevens and Bradley Sanders the rest of the field for that heat. As we get into the warm-up before our main event, the final race of the season, and the results on screen from that one, Hewitt and Rice, 1st and 2nd, with Brett Wheeler not far behind in the end, only 0.2 of a second. Then Butler, Stewart, King, Stevens and Sanders, as we said, the rest of the field. This is a chance for everyone to get out there and get a little bit of a feel for how the track has changed since qualifying. And then we will get into our main event. As we said, Alex Bergeron has already sealed this championship, so congratulations to Bergeron on yet another championship win. That's so many this year already. Of course, world champion. It's one of the best out there we've ever seen in these cars.
Yeah, he puts in a lot of effort and a lot of time, and obviously does pay off in the end, as we've seen winning here in the Australian Sprint Car Series. Obviously, the World Championship Sprint Car Series as well. Earlier this series, not doing too bad in the late models either, so gonna be interesting to see how he goes in that. But yeah, like you said, a lot of laps, a lot of practice and a lot of effort, and it ends up paying off.
Yeah, definitely working hard to get results. Of course, very, very early where Alex is in the world. He's, where is it, about 6 in the morning over there where he is, or 5 in the morning. So he is very, very committed to these cars and to good quality racing, and that's why we see him here. Of course, we saw David Hellerman throughout the season as well. We've seen a lot of internationals come and join us for this series throughout the year, so we thank those guys for coming over and helping strengthen the series. The quality of the field has been huge. I mean, we look at the strength of field numbers for this series. We often do that in a lot of our broadcast races, the hosted league stuff. It's incredible how high the strength of field is for this series, considering well, we've obviously got a few world champions in there, but there's a few drivers that are a little bit down, but it's still a really, really quality field.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no denying it that everybody's relatively on the same page as far as pace goes, and you really can't beat that.
So we get ready for the final race of the season. Prize money up for grabs for championship winners as well. So Bergeron will get the biggest chunk of that prize money, but still very, very tight between Berkeley, Hewitt, Hobson, and also Brett Wheeler. So all 4 of those guys still have a chance of stealing second in this championship fight. Looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. Lewis Hewitt will start from second and Joel Berkeley in third. So I believe Brenton Hobson will be in 4th position. So that shows how close this will be. Actually, no, sorry. Hobson will start from third and Berkeley will start from 7th. My memory serves me correct. With a 4th place finish in that first heat.
Yeah, so quite a big difference with Berkeley. Obviously not the best starting position, but it'll be really interesting to see how well he moves through the field, and this longer race is probably going to be in his favour.
Yeah, exactly right. The longer race will make it a little bit easier to get through the field. 35 laps for these drivers for this race. And we get into our starting grid. Lewis Hewitt and... hang on, that's not right. Let's click on the right one. There we go. Bergeron, Hewitt, Hobson, Rice, Romeo, Wheeler, Berkeley, and Butler. Then we've got Schultz, Stewart, Gosling, King, Robbie, Stevens, Mackenzie, and Sanders. The field for this final race of the season. Thank everyone for tuning in throughout the season. It's been really, really fun to be here for this season, and looking forward to Season 3 in the future. It should be really, really cool to have another dirt season. We've loved Dirt Night here on SimSpeed TV, and looking forward to having it back one day again.
Yeah, absolutely. The racing that this state racing sort of stuff puts on is just absolutely awesome. Every single time you can't beat it. It's just so entertaining and close every single time, and it doesn't matter if there's a battle in the front, in the middle, of the rear. It goes on for ages, and you can't beat it.
Yeah, 100%. It's always been a fun series, not just this season, but previous seasons as well. So, looking forward to seeing this final race of the season. Bergeron and Hewitt from the front row, and you feel that that Hewitt and both Berkeley will be trying their hardest to get a win here, because they both haven't had the greatest second half to this season. Both had a lot of bad luck, but they'll be looking for a bit of redemption, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. It's obviously those bad runs throughout the season have really cost them, especially what happened to Berkeley on last week at Kokomo. It was not the best thing in the world to have happen, especially with how close the championship is. It's never really that great to have happen, but regardless, it's sometimes the way that racing goes. You have those ups and downs, and you just have to take that on the chin.
So the iRacing pace truck about to pull into pit lane for the last time as a pace truck, and maybe we'll see it back out because cautions will be on. Green flag flies. We are underway. Lap number 1 of this season, and a very, very good jump at the front from Alex Bergeron.
Oh, big contact between the two teammates as well. Lewis Hewitt and Joel Berkeley having issues down the back straight. I believe there was some early contact with Vince Romeo, and Berkeley's over, so that's massive, massive implications for his championship.
That could cost him the championship, a potential podium spot. We'll see if we can get a replay of what's happened there. That's 2 weeks in a row. Joel Berkeley has not had any luck other than bad luck. Because last week led the start of the race. There was contact between Romeo and Hewitt to start with, and then Berkeley, fortunately, nowhere to go, and he's upside down, and that's race done and season done. So Vince Romeo to the back of the field, and Bergeron now with control of the field. This is going to make it very, very interesting to see how this goes now. We only completed one lap in this race, so we're about to start lap number 2. As we said, caution laps do not count, so we've got the unofficial lap counter up on screen. It's not 100% confirmed, but it should be pretty close to right.
Yeah, should be relatively around the right number. Do obviously know that caution laps don't count, and obviously you've got about 4 or so caution laps depending on the track, obviously, but looking like it's really going to be all about what Hobson can do, because he showed some very good pace in that heat earlier in the night, and clearly James Rice obviously did as well. Same with Lewis Hewitt, who's not too far behind, currently in about... Oh, he's going to the back of the field, actually, so he's been given an end-of-line penalty, so Hewitt's going to have to really work for it here to try and gain some more points, but we're not too far away from going racing again.
Yeah, we're about to get back underway, I believe. So iRacing pace truck pulls in. We're about to get the green flag, and away we go. Good jump there from Bergeron. Have a look at Butler there with a really good launch, and also it's Harry Stewart getting through as well. So Bergeron, Hobson and Butler looking really strong at the front, but everyone else is really, really close and mixed up at the moment. As they're 4 wide coming out of turn 4. This is going to get really, really spicy. The sun is starting to set. Have a look at Bob King, how far he's moved up the field already, as Butler through on Brenton Hobson, and Bergeron out a mile in front. It's another caution.
Yeah, it looks like Rice actually just got checked up on that restart earlier on. He had a really good run on Brenton Hobson, but just didn't quite end up having to get it right. So he had to check up, and that really cost him massively. But that caution caused by, I believe, contact between Daniel Stevens and Trent Gosley, who was up in the fence and just nowhere to go for Stevens. So really unfortunate for him, and Bradley Sanders as well. Yeah,
Bradley Sanders got fairly heavy contact from that as well. We'll see if we can get another replay while we are under caution. We can get some replays in. It's hard to get replays in these races sometimes, and yeah, Gosley unfortunate. And Middlefinger Racing guys have not had the greatest end of the season as well, with 2 of their cars both out of the race very, very early on. So Bergeron leads. We've only completed 3 laps of racing, so still a lot to go. See how this next restart goes for Bergeron, Butler and Hobson, but the field has shuffled a little bit. Biggest mover at the moment, Scott Butler, plus 6 spots from where he started. Bob King also up 6. And Lewis Hewitt obviously has dropped a fair way back with that penalty. It's back 9 from where he started this race as we get ready to go green next time by.
Yeah, Lewis Hewitt obviously gained a little bit out of that previous caution that's just happened, having obviously avoided that incident, so he's slowly starting to make his way back up, but he'll still be relatively annoyed that he's that far back and not really in the most ideal spot. But again, Scott Butler P2, this is going to be really interesting to watch as pace truck pulls in.
Yep, we'll get the green flag in just a moment. There we go, green flag flies, and have a look at Hobson and Butler there, really, really tight. Hobson right down to the inside straight away, but Butler's going to come back and respond. Butler will hold on to second position for now, and he's starting to put a little bit of pressure on Bergeron, but you'd expect Bergeron to pull away. Hobson doing a great job sticking with Scott Butler. This is going to be on for that final podium spot, because these two are going to shuffle and change position, you'd feel.
Yeah, Butler just clipping the outside wall there in turns 3. He's gone, squared the corner off a bit, try and get the run, and it's not done too bad for him, but Brenton Hobson's starting to come under pressure from his teammate James Rice, not too far behind him, so Hobbo will really have to...
Oh, wow!
Take it easy, and Butler on the feet.
And he's done that one all on his own. You saw from the onboard shot there, he's just gone way too wide. Clipped the wall, and that is race done. So that's a free position for Hobson and Rice. But Scott Butler was looking really strong and just runs a little bit too wide, and that's a fairly heavy impact.
Yeah, very, very easy to do here at Eldora, especially with the way that the line is at the moment. The track's really started to become top dominant, with the cushion really starting to build up now to the point where it's very, very quick and really the only line you want to be running at this point. You can sort of get away with running the model on the bottom, but it's just not quite got the advantage that the top of the track does. So really unfortunate for Butler there, is he's really doing actually quite well to hold off Brenton Hobson and James Rice as well and keep up with Alex Bergeron.
Yeah, exactly right. And Bergeron, as we know, he's the superstar in this car. So these guys can hang with him. It's always a great result. What this is doing with these guys having incidents, it's meaning that Lewis Hewitt is able to move his way through the field a little bit easier. It's obviously easy to pass at the restarts. He's now back up into 8th position, which from my very, very poor quick maths puts him ahead of the championship of Joel Berkeley now, who is out of the event. So as it is right now, 2nd position will go to Lewis Hewitt in this championship. Not done yet though, still a little bit to fight for. So we get ready to go green once again. Bergeron will control the field as the pace truck pulls in, and we get ready to go to start lap number 7.
Yeah, great jump by Bergeron there on the restart. He's got a pretty solid gap out to the front already. Hobson, Rice and Bob King, the 3 SSR teammates, all inside that top 5, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Bob King coming under from a bit of pressure from Harry Stewart, who's all over the back of him, and Harry Stewart coming under a bit of pressure from John Schultz, and Harry Stewart's in the wall.
That was a very, very similar incident to what we just saw for Scott Butler, just at the opposite corner. And, unfortunate again, just getting caught out a little bit wide as he was trying to follow Bob King, and then felt a little bit of pressure from the side, and I think he reacted to John Schultz coming up the side, tried to go a little bit wider, and that just forced him up wide into the fence.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate for Harry there. He's actually really doing quite well. He's had a lot of pace all season long, actually. He's just not really been able to show due to incidents or bad luck. So really unfortunate for Stewart there. He was doing quite well and probably would have been on for a pretty solid result if he kept doing what he was doing.
So the light's still on, so it means we will have another lap before we go green flag racing. We've got this quick opportunity. Big thank you once again to Murray Bridge, Bin Manufacturing and Down Under Graphics for their fantastic support of this series. Without those supporters behind the scenes, this series would not be as fun, entertaining and as enjoyable as they are. So big thank you to those guys, and once again to Bob, BK Events, for putting together the series and running everything behind the scenes. Not easy to do, and an absolute thankless task, so well done to Bob for a great job with this series. It's been thoroughly entertaining the whole way through, so hopefully we end up with a great finale right at the end, because it would deserve a grandstand finish.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an amazing series all season long. It's been some very, very close racing, and we've seen some so far tonight. It's just going to be keeping those cautions out of harm's reach at this stage, as that the pace truck pulls off. Bergeron's lining up the start, and he's already gone. So another great jump from Bergeron, and a great jump from Bob King as well on James Rice, taking a slide job to the middle of the racetrack, but James Rice is going to drive around the outside. John Schultz and Lewis Hewitt not too far behind, going side by side through turns 3 and 4, and now the two teammates, Bob King and James Rice, going side by side there just before, and now Schultz is trying to get involved with Bob King.
What a great little battle going on here. Brett Wheeler as well now has James Robbie coming alongside to fight as well, but Schultz and Hewitt battling hard. This is for a top 5ers. Big moment for Lewis Hewitt. How did he hold on to that? Some great driving, but he's going to lose all momentum, and now may lose a spot to Vince Romeo. James Rice still putting pressure on, as he's actually just clipped the wall, and Bob King now through into 3rd position, but Lewis Hewitt right there to potentially get the spot back from John Schultz. This is a great green flag run we've got going on here. There's just seen some very, very quick lap times coming in for Bergeron, as Vince Romeo and Brett Wheeler still battle, and there's contact between all 3 of those that also included James Robbie, and the caution has come out.
Yeah, it just looked like everybody sort of tripped over each other there. Vince Romeo actually big contact with the wall on the exit of turn 4. Get him a simulations replay of that, because it was actually a really solid hit. He nearly had the line and would have got a very good run out of the corner, but just clipped the wall a little bit too eager to get out of the corner, and just ended up bouncing off the wall and straight into the side of Brett Wheeler and James Rice, who had James Robbie, who just were innocent bystanders and all.
Yeah, and it looks like James Robbie might get away with that a little bit unscathed, but Brett Wheeler and Jai McKenzie have both driven into the lane, as well as James Rice. Now, I'm wondering if James Rice got another issue, because we saw him hit the wall and lose momentum, but he could be day done as well. I think he is. So if we lose another driver in this field, we are down to only 8 left in the field. So we've lost half of our cars at this point in the race. It's a little surprising.
Yeah, it's not exactly one of the most difficult tracks on the schedule. Obviously, you would expect Kokomo to have probably claimed a few more victims, but not necessarily Eldora, with how wide and easily flat out it is, especially with how slick it is at this point, because it's not all that slick.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm surprised that we're seeing quite as many mistakes as we are, because, as you said, the track's nowhere near as slick as we would expect it to be at this point. Obviously, a few less cars means a few less races, which means the track doesn't evolve as quickly, but with the way that the drivers are behaving, you'd think that the track is already that slick that there's no control, but just a few mistakes happening out in the field. But we get ready to go green again. Bergeron, Hobson and King now leading the field. And we've got 8 cars left in this race. Green flag flies. Bergeron, another great jump. John Schultz has got a very, very good launch too. He's caught Lewis Hewitt napping a little bit there. Hewitt's dropping a spot. And have a look at John Schultz trying to put pressure on Bob King straight away, who's trying to get the move done on his teammate in Brenton Hobson. He might just do it.
Yeah, Bob King with a great slide job to move into second, and now John Schultz getting involved as well. So Lewis Hewitt, we've got a 4-way battle for the final podium spot between 2 SSR cars, the Slick Simsport car, and one other. It's really all going off at the moment between these 4, and at the moment, John Schultz is doing a very good job running that middle line and trying to get some momentum, but that Holland, that Lewis Hewitt and Hobbo are running a really getting that drive off the corner, but Schultz still just about there or thereabouts.
And Bob King starting to break away from these guys as well. But Hobson, Schultz and Hewitt all fighting for that final podium spot. So with a big slide job coming in from Lewis Hewitt, he's not going to be able to do it. Brenton Hobson will maintain the spot as we hit 18 laps into this race, halfway through. Bergeron, King, Hobson, Hewitt and Schultz are top 5, and Lewis Hewitt trying to get another slide job done. And Hobson sees it coming. Gets back down the inside, he's going to do a slide job back.
Yeah, Hobbo with a great slide job. Hewitt going to try drive off the bottom, but not quite going to have the momentum. Throw another slide job into turn number 3 to get the position, but Hobbo's going to come back and on the bottom, but that top side, Lewis Hewitt's really managed to get the position, but here comes Hobbo with another slide job. Hewitt's going to try drive it off the bottom. They're going to be side by side down the back straight. Hewitt just ahead, and he's going to throw another slide job, so it's probably going to be position conceded there for Lewis Hewitt. So now into 3rd position, and he's going to be hunting down Bob King.
Yep, 15 laps to go, so now starting to get a decent green flag run. Bob King starting to move to the inside to try and find a little bit more grip, because Lewis Hewitt is closing. Knows that Hewitt has got that outside line working for him, so Bob King's got to try and find something else. But here comes Hewitt to try and get 2nd position back. I think Lewis Hewitt might do this, because Bob King looks very, very vulnerable here.
Yeah, Bob's not got a lot of pace at the moment, and Lewis Hewitt's going to throw a slide job up the inside into turn 1 on Bob King here to try and get that 2nd position. Bob's going to have a solid run out of turn 2, going to throw a slide job into turn number 3. He's going to take that position back from Lewis Hewitt, but Hewitt's got some very good pace. Going to throw another slide job. Slide job sitting at the moment between these two. It's Bob King is going to drive it off the bottom once again and take the position. Another slide job. It's just throwing slide jobs at each other, and this is amazing.
This is a great fight going on between these guys right here as we hit 25 laps of 35. So we've got 11 to go. Bergeron out in a different postcode, 3.5 second advantage, but Bob King, Lewis Hewitt, Brenton Hobson all fighting, and in the background Vince Romeo is out of the race. James Robbie and Bradley Sanders still changing position, but Lewis Hewitt and Bob King, what a fight this is between these guys.
Yeah, and the laps are counting down, less than 10 laps to go, and they're still going at it, throwing a slide job after slide job at each other. You can't beat it. As Lewis Hewitt going to throw another slide job to the top side. Bob King going to drive it off the bottom, not quite going to have the run, but he's going to throw a slide job up the inside at turn number 3 to get in front of Lewis Hewitt. Hewitt has to really throw it in down to the bottom to get past not run to the back as he manages to get the position back with another slide job in turn 1. Bob King not going to have the run this time by, but he's probably going to throw another slide job. Yes, he does.
Of course he is.
Straight to the top, and Lewis Hewitt's going to drive it underneath. He's still going at it side by side. On a
Whoa!
contact for good measure with the two of them.
This is great to watch, and what this is doing, Bergeron's just absolutely breaking away, showing why he has won this championship. They crossed the line. There were 6 laps to go in this race. Bergeron a mile in front, but Hewitt, King, Hobson, the top 4. John Schultz starting to lose a bit of ground, and James Robbie, Bradley Sanders starting to feel a bit of pressure from behind as they battle, because Bergeron is coming, crosses the line to complete 30. 5 laps to go. Not far left in this main event. Bradley Sanders and James Robbie the closest battle at the moment. But Lewis Hewitt's done a great job to come from the back of the field after that early incident to get himself into a podium spot. And he's actually starting to close in a tiny, minute amount on Alex Bergeron.
Hewitt's done a really, really good job to recover from that earlier penalty of having to go to the end of the line on the field. So he's recovered very well to get in second position. That'll very much concede his second position in the championship as well. And this is starting to look a little bit deja vu, because Alex and Lewis both finished 1-2 in the last round of the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Championship Series at the last Eldora round as well. So a little bit of deja vu for these two, although the gap is probably a little bit closer.
Yep, would have been a little bit closer. And as we get ready to get the white flag this time by, Alex Bergeron will hear the call come over to say last lap. So he crosses that line now. He's starting to slow down a little bit because he's enjoying this race, enjoying this performance, and he will enjoy victory in this series. Congratulations to Alex Bergeron, your winner in the Australian Sprint Car Series presented by Murray Bridge Bin Manufacturing and Down Under Graphics. Lewis Hewitt will finish in second in the championship and this race. Bob King in third, and Brenton Hobson, great result tonight. He might be a dark horse for a podium in the championship. It's going to be very, very tight. We'll wait for official confirmation, but he finishes 4th tonight. John Schultz in 5th, James Robbie in 6th, and Bradley Sanders in 7th position. But Alex Bergeron, too good tonight, too dominant, and shown why he is the world champion in this car. Congratulations to Alex Bergeron, your series winner in Season 2 of the Australian Sprint Car Series. So, well done to Alex. We'll hopefully have him in the booth for a chat in just a moment. Results, we won't get them up on screen because technically the race is still going, but Bergeron, Hewitt, Hobson, and King. Sorry, Bergeron, Hewitt, King, and Hobson, the top 4. We'll get the guys in for a chat very, very soon. And we can dissect how this finale of this championship has played out. But what a series we've had, Cam. We've loved every single round of this. Of course, you competed at the start, but you've joined us in the comms box for the second half of the season. It's been fantastic to watch these guys out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. They've put on an absolute show every single time. It's been awesome to commentate on, awesome to race, and awesome to watch. So really, really awesome series.
Yeah, it has been an awesome series, and an awesome series deserves an awesome champion. Congratulations to Alex Bergeron. Yet another championship win to add to the list, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Talk us through that race. Didn't quite go as easy in the heat, but come the main event, just managed to get the run at the start and let everyone fight behind you.
Yeah, the race was definitely tough. Track was stackier, and the guys behind were very fast for sure. But in the feature, Christian went very fast, and our car was very good there, and just like we've seen in the World Championship last season, it just worked pretty good there, and we just used that, and it was very, very good up there, and at the end I was gonna run out of fuel, so I tried to run the bottom, and they said it was 2 to go, so I knew I was fine, but I got scared for a second.
Well, congratulations on picking up the win in the end. A little bit scary to nearly run out of fuel. I noticed your pace did drop off a little bit at the end there. I thought you might have been having a little bit of a show, but talk us through how you found the series, and let us know what's next for Alex Bergeron.
Well, this is all about Bub. I didn't know about this series last year, and I don't think we ran the full series last year, but we definitely did this year, and it paid off. Thank you to all the sponsors for the series, and Bub King for putting this up. It was a pleasure to be in this, and I got to thank all my partners, Yomi.com, the Science Track Keys, BK Designs, Max McLaughlin Racing, CSI Chalk, Smart Inc., my team ABR, Jason Nygaard, my girlfriend. And just next up for me, if there's another Australian series up, we're definitely gonna run it.
Well, hopefully we'll see you out on track very, very soon on our side of the world, and good luck for the rest of the year for you. Congratulations, Alex Bergeron, winner of championship for season 2 of the AFC series. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you, guys.
Cam, that will wrap it up for us for the season. We need to thank Murray Bridge Bin Manufacturing and Down Under Graphics for their continued support of this series, and also to Bob King because he puts in so many hours behind the scenes to make these series run as well as it has. It's been a load of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob puts on an absolutely awesome series every single time. You cannot beat it, that's for sure. And can't wait for the next one because it's going to be awesome once again.
Yep, we cannot wait for that. And as one season ends, a new begins tomorrow night. We will be back for Sprint Series Australia here on the iRacing Esports Network, starting from a new time of 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you do tune in tomorrow night for that. And then next week we'll be back for Monday V8s, also AOSC as well. And of course the GDS and GoPro Championship. But until then, we thank you very, very much for tuning in here on the iRacing Esports Network. Until the next time we see you, we thank you for watching. We'll see you on track soon.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness! Half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This is the original